Hello? Hello there. Get out of my room.
Hey, Judy.
Hello, who's this?
Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Nice to hear your voice.
But you're going to miss seeing my smiling face.
I am missing your smiling face.
Yeah, I'm just going to be on audio.
I think that's everybody.
Oh, okay. Most of go-to meetings I've been on, everybody else has been, their face.
They've also got video. Yeah, I think that there was a note from Isaac indicating that this was just going to be an audio meeting, so I'm presuming
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't need to comb my hair then, huh? I did send out an email about the meeting you and I wanted to do next week.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you.
I have not heard back.
Okay.
Caller 01.
This is Jill. I'd like to make sure I'm connected.
Oh, hi, Jill.
Jill.
Oh, okay. Everybody's on audio. Okay, I'm gonna mute my phone until the meeting starts.
Okay.
And so I think we might have Martin too. I think he's muted.
Okay, who do I have?
This is Julie.
Kyle and Buchanan and Martin. Monica.
Just the trustees. Who do I have on call?
Julie.
Kyle.
Just Julie?
Monica. Yes,
Monica? Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna put you on mute.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Monica.
How are you guys?
I see you've got the obligatory bookcase in the background there.
I'm in Tristan's library/office.
Okay, well, everybody, so many people that have been doing these, they all have the books behind them. So I'm impressed that you're a big reader.
Yeah, this is like a legit library. Also, I'm the only one with a face. Okay, thank you, Julie.
Yeah, there. I'm here so that we can commiserate.
Oh, she has her bookcase too.
I do. How you been, Monica?
Good.
Yeah. Has there been much traffic for you in real estate?
We slowed down for about 2 to 3 weeks, like while everybody was kind of figuring stuff out, and then the last 2 weeks have been like insanely busy.
Okay.
Yeah, it really jumped back. I think a lot of people figured out, like, they were willing to wait like a week or two, but like a month and a half when you need to move is kind of too long. So people are moving.
You gotta move, yeah.
Summer's coming too.
Yeah. So we're just being safe. We have our masks and our sanitizer, and we've got all the right precautions in place.
Oh, yeah. We are live on YouTube.
Hi there. Can you hear? This is Ryan. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, hi everybody.
Go
on mute. Yeah, really. Isaac, are we waiting on people or?
Yeah, this is Isaac. We're waiting on Mike to arrive.
Okay. Hope everyone got to get outside today, and it's pretty awesome outside.
Yeah, I did.
It is on my list. I'm looking forward to it. This is the last meeting of the day. You doing all right, Ryan?
Yeah, it's good. I can't believe this is still happening in today's world, but it is what it is. Agriculture's taking a pretty big hit, so my job has me more busy. And when you don't realize how many more tools you have when you're in an office than when you are at home.
Yeah. Do you mean mainly? I'm guessing all of your technology is with you at home.
Yeah, technology's there, but in the office, I know this sounds like crazy, but it's easier to get everyone together to talk about these things, and no one really knows anyone's schedule when you're out like this. So it's like you need to talk to someone in a hurry. You can't just go knock on the door and say, "Hey, I got a fire, I need your help," but whatever.
Mm-hmm. A thing that all of my clients are talking about really just the end of last week and this week has been that it is dawning on people that their home office ergonomics are terrible.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so everybody's getting ready to get themselves geared up properly so they can take care of their bodies while sitting at home, and because we really don't know how much longer, at least another 4 weeks, right? So
At least we got nice weather. I mean, got to be
Indeed.
thankful for that.
yeah, for sure.
Mike will be on in just a few minutes. He had to wrap up something on GLT.
Okay. Your clippers, chapter, little plastic thing.
Hello, this is Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Hi.
Hi, Peter.
Hi. I'm going to put you on mute. So if you need me, just say my name and I'll unmute. So.
Okay.
Pam, this is Ryan. We're just waiting on Mike. He's running a few minutes behind, so that's why you don't hear anything yet. So sorry for that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Hello, sorry. It's Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I think we are ready to begin.
I apologize. Let me state that I had some weather information pop up. I'm still at work, so I had to go back and recut some breaks, and it took a little longer than I thought. So my bad, and my apologies. So let's call the Connect Transit Board meeting to order. Jill, can you take the roll? Or have we already done that?
This is the public hearing.
Oh, it's the public hearing. Sorry. Let's call the public hearing to order.
We still take the roll.
Okay.
It's on the agenda. Chairman Mike McCurdy,
Here.
Vice Chairman Ryan Whitehouse,
Here.
Secretary Monica Bullington,
Here.
Trustee Judy Buchanan,
Here.
Trustee Julie Heil,
Here.
Trustee Linda Foster, Town of Normal Manager Pam Reese,
Here.
City of Bloomington Manager Tim Gleason, that's it, Mike.
Okay.
There are no
One moment.
public comments.
Okay, I'm
on the
having difficulty. Okay, I'm just having difficulty locating my public hearing. Is there a public hearing agenda for this?
Yes.
Mhm.
One moment.
Can I ask you a question? Who's in attendance? I didn't take note, just so I know who's in the room or who's on the call. What board members are present?
Chairman Mike McCurdy, Vice Chairman Ryan Whitehouse, Secretary Monica Bullington, Trustee Judy Buchanan, Trustee Julie Heil, and Pam Reese, Town of Normal Manager. We are without Tim Gleason and our new trustee, Linda Foster.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Linda was asking for instructions earlier to join. I don't know if anyone got back to her. I ran out of time, obviously, and I'm also unable to locate the agenda for the public hearing.
The best way to do that would be to go onto the website, Chairman.
Mike, what's your email? Email it to you right now. Mike McCurdy at Gmail, modal at Gmail.
McCurdy Modal at Gmail.
Yeah. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
There, you got it.
Board members and staff, I apologize for this. My day just kind of spun out of control. All right. No public comments. Are there general manager comments or explanation about this public hearing and what we're doing?
Yeah, I just want to I have some GM comments. So staff has prepared a Illinois Capital Assistance grant application to construct a downtown Bloomington Transportation Center. Connect is required to hold a public hearing to hear from interested persons or agencies with respect to social, economic, and environmental aspects of the project. As a reminder to the board and the public, this is a grant application. At this point, we are requesting these grant funds through the application process. The Downtown Transportation Center study is underway and will conclude possibly in August or September. But this is just a grant application at this point.
And it's my understanding we have no public comment, no one in person, and no advance comments sent in advance.
That's
That is
correct.
Okay, then that would close our public hearing. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I would ask for a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So move, Buchanan.
Board
Second.
Chair will second that. Second from Board Chair McCurdy. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Should we do a roll call on that?
No, sir.
Or, okay. All right. The next, I also don't have the special meeting agenda either that I can find. I have the regular agenda.
I'm emailing to you right now, Mike.
All right, thank you. Not sure what happened. Probably my mistake. So now call the annual meeting of the Connect Transit Board of Trustees to order. Jill, can you take the roll again, please?
Chairman Mike McCurdy,
Here.
Vice Chairman Ryan Whitehouse,
Here.
Secretary Monica Bullington,
Here.
Trustee Judy Buchanan,
Here.
Trustee Julie Heil,
Here.
Trustee Linda Foster, Town of Normal Manager Pam Reeves,
Here.
City of Bloomington Manager Tim Gleason. Roll call's complete.
Thank you, Jill. I've talked to I think I've talked to every trustee regarding our annual meeting and possible officers. And the conclusion reached individually with individual trustees was that we would move forward with a slate of Ryan Whitehouse as chair, Julie Heil as vice chair, and Monica Bullington as secretary. And I would ask for a motion for that slate of officers and a second.
So move enthusiastically.
A motion by Trustee Buchanan. Is there a second? I will second that motion. Second by Board Chair Mike McCurdy. That is our nomination. Do I have to close nominations before we actually vote on the officers?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
To that.
I would go
No,
on with a motion for
no,
closing of nominations.
Yeah, you just close it, Mike.
Okay. Then all in favor of that slate of officers, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Then I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move. Julie?
Second.
All in favor of adjournment? Did we say aye? Did we have a motion for adjourning? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Special meeting stands adjourned. Can I have one moment? I'm going to forward the go-to-meeting information to Linda Foster again.
Thanks, Mike. I was going to ask.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Yes.
I have sent her all 3 attachments. She was having difficulty in opening up the attachments.
Okay.
I sent it to another email, which you do not have, which
Okay. Would
she
you like to?
asked me to do.
Have you sent her the go-to-meeting information for that?
Yes,
On that,
sir.
to the separate email? Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right, I forwarded again, and she should have it at her other email address then. So we'll continue to move forward here. One moment. Okay, so let's call the regular meeting of the Connect Transit Board of Trustees, or do we have to wait until 4:30 for that?
We do not need to
4:30
wait.
on the agenda. We do not have to
No.
wait. Okay.
No, immediately following the annual meeting.
Hello, this is Linda.
Hey.
Hi, Linda.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome, Linda.
Thank you. Am I late?
You are. That's probably our fault. And I apologize for that. We have already held the public hearing and the special meeting to elect officers. The public hearing resulted in no comments, and the special meeting was a unanimous vote on the slate of officers that you and I had talked about.
Okay.
And we are just now calling to order the regular board meeting, so you got here just in time for that. And I would ask Jill to call the roll.
Chairman Mike McCurdy,
Here.
Vice Chairman Ryan Whitehouse,
Here.
Secretary Monica Bullington,
Here.
Trustee Judy Buchanan,
Here.
Trustee Julie Heil,
Here.
Trustee Linda Foster,
Here.
Town of Normal Manager Pam Reese,
Here.
and City of Bloomington Manager Tim Gleason. The roll is complete.
Thank you. Thank you, Jill. And we have no public comments for the regular meeting either.
No, sir.
Okay. I would just take a quick moment to welcome Linda as a Connect Transit Board of Trustee and thank her for her willingness to serve as a trustee and for her service as a member of CTAC and on our working group, our Connect to the Future working group. Hopefully I'm speaking for the entire board when I say we're all looking forward to working with you and advancing transit in this community. I would also like to recognize the years of service of Trustee John Bowman as a trustee and recognize his service and thank him for his time as a trustee. Is there any other comment from other board members regarding that? Okay, moving on to the
Thank you for the welcome. Thank you for the welcome. I look forward to working with the team.
Thank you, Linda. Moving on to the consent agenda. I would ask for a motion and a second, and then any discussion or questions regarding items on the consent agenda.
So moved, Buchanan.
Sounds like a moved by Trustee Buchanan, a second from Trustee Bullington. Is that correct? Was a motion to approve by Trustee Buchanan and a second from Trustee Bullington? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments about items on the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, I would ask that we go ahead and vote on that. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye. Aye, Linda Foster.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Brings us to new business. Isaac, we're going to talk about the Connect Transit Board of Trustees letter of support for the bus and bus facilities grant.
Is that's the first time as the Connect Transit Board of Trustees letter of support for bus and bus facilities grant. This is a recommendation for the board to approve a letter of support for the Downtown Bloomington Transportation Center. The bus and bus facilities discretionary grant is a competitive grant, but Connect has been very successful in the last 3 years in receiving this funding. The letter of support from the Connect board is very important and will strengthen our application. I ask the board to approve a letter of support for this grant application.
Move approval, Whitehouse.
Second.
Second approval, Heil.
I have a question.
Motion to approve from Whitehouse, second from Julie Heil. Any discussion or questions about the letter of support?
Yes, I have questions here. Isaac, so we have our letter. What other letters of support from other I'm assuming City of Bloomington gave us. Do we have, what else? EDC, Chamber of Commerce, what other letters of support are we asking for?
So yes, we have the Town of Normal, City of Bloomington, EDC, McLean County Chamber. We also have letter of support from our congressional delegation as well, and the McLean County Regional Planning Commission.
How soon does this letter need to go? How soon does this need to go out? Would it be of value to ask Illinois Wesleyan, since they're in Bloomington, to maybe add a letter of support to this?
So the application is due tomorrow. Tomorrow by 11:59. I can reach out and see if we can quickly get somebody's signature.
If we can add it, I don't think it hurt. But I mean, if it's, if you can't get it, I just thought, not only private sector and public sector, but if we could get a private institution to support it as well, just looks good.
I can reach out and ask for that letter of support.
Mm-hmm.
If you need Carl Teichman's cell, I have it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and Carl is aware of it because of his work on the planning commission. So this is just asking him to put on another hat.
Any other questions or comments? Isaac, I have a quick question, and that is, do we seek letter of support from anyone in any normal organizations, since we serve both communities and the transfer center will benefit passengers in both communities?
Yeah, we only ask for the town normal letter of support for the application. That's been our typical process. We have gotten letters in the past from the Ecology Action Center when we were applying for electric buses as well.
EDC is located in Normal. I mean, I know that it's the EDC, they're countywide, but they are located in Normal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would that also include Illinois State University? In most entities, everyone is aware of Illinois State.
Yeah, that's true as well. In the past, we've also gotten a letter of support from Illinois State University. I think when we looked at this application and where its geographical location was, where we're trying to build this at, we did not reach out to Illinois State University in this instance to get a letter of support.
Yeah, I guess I might suggest that projects of this magnitude that impact the entire community, that we cast a wider net for those letters of support if they're important.
Yep, I will do that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. We have to approve is it a resolution that we're voting on?
This is just a recommendation for a letter of support for this bus and bus facilities grant. The next agenda item is a resolution.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of this letter of support, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Our second item of new business is the IDOT capital grant resolution. Isaac?
Yes, this resolution gives me, as the general manager, the ability to submit the application, execute the grant agreement if Connect Transit is awarded the capital grant. I ask the board to approve the IDOT capital grant resolution as well.
Can you repeat that, Isaac? What does it do again?
Yeah, it just gives me the authority as the general manager to submit the application and then execute the grant agreement if Connect Transit is awarded the capital grant.
Okay, is there a motion and a second and any discussion for that?
So moved, Buchanan.
Second, Bullington.
Discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
I do have one
Motion
question.
carries.
Hey, Mike.
Sure. Trustee Bullington?
Secretary, and the fact that I'm not there, do I have to come to the office and sign this to get this in, or?
What we will do is we are going to ask for both Chairman McCurdy and Secretary Monica's Bullington's signature for this resolution. What we'll do is we'll send it to you by email. You can sign that and scan it back to us. So you don't necessarily come into the office.
Okay.
Any other questions before we move on to the next item? Next item is for reimbursement of my travel for the One Voice trip to DC, which I would say was, I think, a very productive trip. I will recuse myself from this since it's reimbursing my travel expenses. I would ask for a motion in a second, and I think this is a roll call vote as well.
I'll move to approve.
Second, Buchanan.
Motion
Mike,
by
can I
Trustee
ask a
Bullington.
Mike,
Sure,
can I
go
ask
ahead.
a question before we move
Yes.
on? This isn't a reimbursement. This didn't come out. This is just to approve the payment of those bills, right? You didn't stroke these checks,
True.
correct?
You're right. None of the money
I
is
just want
coming
to
to
make
me.
sure,
Yeah.
I make sure people are watching that this is not money that's coming to you. It's reimbursement of the expenses paid for your travel.
Travel, right. Mm-hmm.
That is accurate. It's actually an approval of the expenses incurred by Connect Transit for my travel. I don't think there was any, I don't think I submitted anything for this trip.
No, there's no reimbursement to you. These are expenses incurred by Connect Transit for your travel.
Okay, that's a good point, Trustee Whitehouse. Thank you. Jill, would you call the roll, please?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I was talking to myself. I just want to confirm that Trustee Bullington moved and Trustee Buchanan second.
Yes.
Okay, we'll take a roll call. Chairman McCurdy is recused. Vice Chairman Ryan Whitehouse.
Yes.
Yay? Yay or nay? Okay. Secretary Monica Bullington.
Yay.
Trustee Judy Buchanan.
Yes.
Trustee Julie Heil.
Yes.
Trustee Linda Foster.
Yes.
I'm uncertain. Do Pam and Tim vote for this?
They do not.
No, they do not.
All right, roll call is finished.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next brings us to a discussion about our suspension of fare collection and our reduced service amid COVID-19. Isaac, what do you want to say about this?
Yeah, so the fare collection was suspended on March 18th, and we reduced service on March 22nd due to the pandemic. The suspension of fare collection was implemented to reduce crowding at the door and fare box and allows for rear door boarding. Reduced service is a result of reduced ridership that Connect has experienced over the last 6 weeks and passengers limiting their travel. I asked the board to approve the continued suspension of fare collection and reduced service and answer any questions the board may have.
I'd ask for a motion and a second, please, and then we can move on to discussion and questions.
So moved.
Whitehouse move.
I do have a question. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a move. Sounds like a White House move for approval. Who was the second?
Buchanan.
Buchanan is the second. And a question,
Mhm.
Trustee Buchanan?
Yes, I noticed that in the document, the financial impact is a loss of approximately $250,000. Is that is through the end of this fiscal year? That takes us through June?
Correct. We estimated if we reduced this item or recommendations only to June 7th, but we were estimating what would happen if we eliminated fares the rest of this fiscal year. The last 3 months of this fiscal year would be about $250,000 loss in revenue.
Mm-hmm. And is that a total loss, or does that represent the total time that we have had the suspension of fares?
That represents if we continue the reduction of fares or reduce fare collection all the way through the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30th.
Mm-hmm.
We just wanted to give an estimate of what we believe this impact's going to be for our revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So.
Trustee Whitehouse?
Isaac, I know it was up there and before in the consent agenda, but do you just want to give us a brief update on kind of what, the reduced service is, kind of overall what ridership is doing right now?
Sure. So the first couple weeks of March, this is before coronavirus hit our local community. Obviously, we are seeing large increase in February going into March. And then second week of March is when we started reducing service. That's when the shelter-in-place order came out by the governor, and then we started seeing a large reduction in passengers traveling. Obviously, we were encouraging only essential use of public transit. And so now we're right around a 65% decrease in our ridership the last couple of weeks of March and into April.
So sort of an upside down world here that we're living in, where we're actually asking passengers not to ride the bus.
That's absolutely true. Yes, we are encouraging essential travel only for those individuals that have to go out, to the grocery store, to work, at medical facilities. or to get to medical treatment such as chemotherapy or dialysis.
And would you remind me, is it true that we were headed towards our second highest ridership year in system history before the pandemic?
Yes, we were on track for that. Obviously, dealing with coronavirus, that's out the door now. We're encouraging people not to ride as much as possible. But yeah, we were on our way towards hitting the second highest ridership year ever.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I do. This is Linda Foster. So since we are at a less capacity of ridership, does the federal government give us any type of reimbursement, any type of grant because of the reduced ridership and because of the COVID-19?
Yeah, so Connect Transit was, and all transit agencies in North America were awarded CARES Act funding, which I'm going to go into great detail to talk about in my general manager's update underneath that. Okay. But yes, we're going to be able to replace this lost fare revenue with that CARES Act funding, which again, I'll go into more detail for the board members about that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just got want to make the observation that
this is Trustee Heil.
Yeah, sorry. Yep, Julie Heil. Seems to me an important time for us to make the observation about what an important resource Connect Transit is for those of our riders who are mobility challenged and or transit reliant. And though the buses are by design largely empty, they are all the more important to people for meeting the needs that they have. So I'm greatly appreciative to Transit for filling that role, and I'm eager for us as a board to get the word out in the community that we are serving that need. Isaac and I have had some conversation also about operators and how we can, as a board and as a system, express our appreciation for them being in the line of fire the way they are. And I don't know when the time for that conversation will be, but I look forward to some of that during this meeting.
Thank you, Julie. Any other questions or comments?
If I might, Mike, I'm just curious, Isaac, to follow up on Julie's comments. This is Buchanan. Was the video completed and able to be shared with our drivers?
Yeah, all the videos that the board members made were put onto social media. We put those mostly on, I do believe, Twitter and out to the drivers. And I believe a lot of people commented positively about that. And I really thank the board and others for creating those videos.
Thank you. It's a great idea.
Is it not too late to add on?
Never too late. Yes, we can get you.
Wonderful addition.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be willing to do that.
Yep, I'll send you a follow-up email.
Okay, thank you.
Isaac, I have one related question, and that is, as we limit the number of passengers per bus, if a bus had 10 people on it, the system would dispatch a Connect Mobility bus to pick up that customer. Has that been happening often or at all?
We've not had to use that very often. It's probably happened maybe 10 to 12 times over the last couple of weeks that we instituted that, but it's just precaution we wanted to take to limit the passengers on fixed route to 10 only. So again, going back to social distancing measures.
And where are we in terms of face mask use on buses? Was it beginning this week? People were asked by the governor to wear face masks in public.
No, May 1.
Yeah, May 1st.
Oh, May 1?
1st, yeah. We instituted our policy on this Sunday of requiring face masks by our employees and also customers on the bus because of the CDC guidelines. We were we held back because we wanted to hear from concerns. We held back originally when the CDC issued that guidance from doing it immediately, and we waited till this Sunday to do that. But the governor did come out and ask individuals in the public to wear face masks starting on May 1st.
So if an individual do not have a face mask, then they cannot board the bus, or do you guys
Yeah,
have it available?
I apologize. I should have been more clear. So we're asking for individuals to either wear a face mask or a face covering. Could be a scarf.
Okay.
Could be a number of different things. We put out a video basically from the Surgeon General about how you can make your own face covering. We know that supplies or masks are in short supply, so we understand that not everybody's going to have access to a mask. We're having a very, very hard time getting them as well. We've got to make some. So.
And have there been instances where a customer was not allowed on a bus because they weren't wearing a mask?
So the first few days, we were very lenient with that policy and just warning customers, but we're getting to a point where now that May 1st is coming and it's the governor's asked for that, we're telling people you have to have a face covering or a mask to get onto the bus. It's for your protection and the driver's protection.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's support.
Mike,
they're supporting the operators for that too.
Yes.
Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, I appreciate the concern for that, but on the same note, it's the governor's executive order. There's no way we can be lenient.
Not after May 1st.
Right.
Yes. Okay, any other discussion or questions regarding the suspension of fare collection and our reduced service? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. This brings us to a recommendation for the purchase of interior bus displays and mobile data terminals. I think these are the displays that we've talked about in the past that actually tell customers what stop is next and how far away they are from that stop.
Correct. We've been running a pilot now for the last couple of months with a few of our buses that have these. Yes, they basically show the passengers when the next stop is going to be, what that stop's called, whether you're at College and Main Street or whatnot. So it also gives us the ability though to run internal videos for customer service, safety, and the ability to possibly do some advertising and bring in advertising revenue with these. But this recommendation is a result of the electric fare box project being under budget. We completed that under budget. We have communicated with the Federal Transit Administration regional office about revising the scope and the budget of these federal funds. To repurpose these federal funds for another project, it must be within the original activity line item code, which is bus support equipment. It's also important to note these funds cannot be used to replace buses or bus stops because they're in completely different activity line item code. Also, these funds are not, if they're not repurposed, Connect Transit will lose these federal funds. So I'm going to turn it over to Martin Glaze, our Chief Operating Officer, to discuss more about this recommendation. Martin?
Yes, hello, Board of Trustees. Yes, the infotainment screens, they're more than just the screens themselves. We're only replacing the screens on several buses that don't currently have them. Others will be retrofitted and the new software will just be fed into them. Synchromatics is using a native software, so everything that's currently going through the tablet as far as the route, the GPS, the driver login is fed automatically, so it's real time. In the past, trying to get this to work, it was uploaded via a USB stick, and so it was only relative to when you uploaded it. This will be relative to that up to the minute, real time. Any of your messaging can be route specific, so if a certain business wanted to only advertise on the orange route, they could do that, and we could plug that in and it would only play that on the orange route. The visuals will give people that are hard of hearing or any more like ADA stop announcements. So the current ones are only audible. This will give a visual cue as far as what stops are occurring. We can also display e-tours and announcements in real time. Currently, there's really no way for us to inform the passengers that are on a bus without going through the app. And if they don't have a phone, then they're not getting that information. It'll be right there on the bus. We can share our Twitter feeds, we can share our Facebook feeds, and we have full control over those, so we can edit them and ensure that the content is appropriate. And we can also put up training videos on the bus to show how to utilize the bike rack, things of that nature as they occur. There's also a second part of the recommendation, and that is to upgrade the mobile data terminals. It's basically a more robust tablet that is kind of the hub of the entire bus. It controls the head signs, controls the fare box, it'll control the infotainment screens. The ones that we currently have are 4 years old. As you know, tablets have about a 6 to 8 year lifespan. So we're looking to replace these while we have the current funds and upgrade to a version 2 model. The version 2 model has a better processor, better GPS signal, and the setup as far as the mounting hardware, how the wires are ran, everything's a little bit better. They're better connectivity. The old ones can become jumbled throughout the years, people knocking them, hitting them. The wires just weren't as robust as you'd like. They took that into consideration into this new version 2, and these will last much longer. They've had a much better performance rating on these from those agencies that currently have them installed.
So before we get into questions and comments, I would ask for a motion and a second.
So moved, Buchanan.
Second, Linda.
Any questions or comments?
I have a comment, Buchanan. Well, first of all, this is a wonderful revenue source for us and a resource. So I'm delighted that we are proceeding with this. And also this notion and this particular kind of activity was discussed repeatedly by members of our work group. They thought it would be very helpful for any number of reasons, including many of our riders who may have limited sight or limited hearing. I'm curious, and I recognize that this could only be used for certain kinds of capital activity. Were there any other needs within the system that might have met the criteria that were considered?
Most of it would have been just hardware replacements, having extra pieces on hand as far as the current fare boxes. So it had to be in the same scope of fare boxes, displays, and our vehicle location system.
Great. Thank you, Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mike, can I say something about White House?
Yep, go ahead.
Let me just say, I'm like really excited about these, and Isaac and Mike, you can attest to this. When we were out in DC in March, and I ride the metro out there all the time, and sometimes you just kind of get lost when you're riding public transit. It's nice. They have that on their subway, on their metro system. It's nice to be able to see what's coming up. So I just think it's a nice addition. I know it's just one person that rides transit from, in other communities, but that is kind of not only a nice thing, it's actually kind of a security blanket to make sure that you haven't missed your stop yet. So I think I'm excited about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would concur with Trustee Whitehouse. I have a quick question. That is, I think I know the answer to this because Isaac and I have talked about it, but this allows for more than one screen per bus, right? We're talking about installing additional screens.
Yes, all the newer buses will have the screen that's right up by the driver, right behind the driver, and then the one hanging from the middle of the bus.
Okay. Other questions and comments?
I would just say I appreciate the follow through on this, the improvement upon the original app that we were testing. I appreciate the pilot, and it feels to me like a game changer. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other comments or questions, I would ask for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed?
Who motioned that?
I think it
I think it was
second.
Buchanan.
And I second, Foster second.
yeah, Foster seconded.
The Linda and Judy show.
Good enough for me.
All right.
Thank you.
Heard no opposition to that. Motion carried unanimously. Brings us to item number 6, which is a recommendation for to extend the contract with our federal legislative consultant. Isaac, would you like to say a few words about this and the?
Well, first of all, I would just go ahead. I want Isaac to talk about this, but I want to go ahead and move approval on this, and I'm hoping Judy will give me a second because
She will.
our past and our peers. But I want to make some comments afterwards too.
Sure. So we have a motion from Trustee Whitehouse and a second from Trustee Bullington. And then Isaac, would you like to talk a little bit, and then we'll throw it back to Trustee Whitehouse.
Yeah, so this is a recommendation for a board to approve a 1-year extension with Cardinal Infrastructure, who is our federal lobbyist. Over the last 3 years, Cardinal Infrastructure has build relationships with our congressional delegation and Federal Transit Administration. Cardinal Infrastructure has also been instrumental in our federal grant applications, helping us secure $7,950,000 in discretionary grants over the last 3 years. I'd ask the board to approve a 1-year extension for the contract in the total amount of $72,000.
And I think I misspoke. I think I said the second was from Trustee Bullington. It was from Trustee Buchanan.
Correct.
Trustee Whitehouse, comments?
Yes. So I think that I'm hoping that we will all support this, but I still think that if other people are listening to this, I think we need to explain this. This is a great investment that Connect Transit does. I mean, that you read the agenda, the investment that we have returned back. Remember, those are tax dollars that the people of this community pay to Washington, D.C., coming back to their communities, which is part of the process. And having relationships is important. Isaac's been out there multiple times. I've been out there with Isaac multiple times. And Mike, you've been out there a few times with us. And I've been out there by myself with my other career. And I'm telling you, Anya is top notch. Anya and Cardinal, I mean, every time we go into DOT or FTA, the relationships are rock solid. They're not, superficial. They're really solid relationships. And, I do this for a little bit of a living, and I every time I talk to Anya, she amazes me, and I just think she's top notch. So, maybe this is to maybe help Linda understand a little bit here, but I think that this is a great use of dollars, and I hope that everyone will support this.
Mm-hmm. And
I would.
Buchanan?
Nope, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I definitely support Ryan's comments. If you just look at the return and the number of federal dollars that we've been successful at capturing for Connect Transit, it's just phenomenal. And I know sometimes there's discussion of whether or not that's really necessary. I think that Ryan has certainly spoken to that. And as I look at the amount that is for the contract, I must say I think we're getting an excellent deal.
Yeah, and one more thing, Isaac. One more. I think that this year is good and all that stuff, but I do think that we should next year. This is my thought as someone that does this: is we should look at a longer term contract with these individuals, not because to secure money, but some of these projects take time and all that stuff. And if we know that it's going to be a longer term contract with this, it's just it stirs up the relationship with our lobbyists. And they'll be working on it. So next year, I'd like to come back with a longer-term contract. I think the first time we did this, we did a 3-year contract. I think that's an appropriate amount of time. But I think that we should do that going forward.
Yep, we are definitely looking at that. I'm looking at that as well for next year, looking at another 3-year contract. So that is on our radar.
Go ahead, Julie.
I would strongly support the comments that have been made and point out that, just as another small example, our investment in sending personnel and board members to the One Voice trip is greatly enhanced by the fact that that Cardinal Infrastructure put that trip together for McLean County and the town and the city, and that we are able to capitalize on the fact that we are there in Washington, D.C. and make sort of additional visits with our elected officials and agency contacts while also there on the One Voice agenda. So there's just value in all directions with Cardinal Infrastructure.
If I might, Mike, sorry, this is Judy again.
Go ahead.
I would just piggyback on what Julie has said. And I think as I look at our new incoming president or chairman of the board, Mr. Whitehouse, he has been very valuable, very instrumental, because he does appreciate the opportunity here for us to really maximize and recruit dollars much needed by Connect Transit. So we have a board chair who not only appreciates it, but is in a position to help keep that moving.
Thank you, Judy. That's very kind of you.
If I may, this is Julie. Judy, we don't often get opportunities to kind of lean into the particular values that members of our board bring. And I think that the earlier annual meeting and election of officers dovetails nicely with the comment you just made. For the public record, can you talk a little bit, Judy, about what it is that Ryan brings to the table around the relationships with our electeds and just a deep professional skill set in the arena of securing funds and approvals at the legislative level?
I'd be happy to add something to that. And as Ryan knows, I was also in the lobbying business myself and been a contract lobbyist. But a person like Ryan or the work that I did, you have to really have a healthy respect for the process and the individuals. While you may or may not always agree with the policymakers, you have to have a healthy respect for their opinion and be willing to work with them, either to convince them of your position or to encourage them if they are already supporting your position. And someone who is able to do that and be able to talk to all parties, as I said, whether they are in agreement or not, and to encourage people and to provide them with good information. I'm sure Ryan recognizes and would acknowledge that accurate information is so important. And there again, you have a board member who understands that, who is willing to arm themselves with the facts and go forward. That is really very good for us.
I would just, this is Chairman McCurdy. I would add to that having taken trips with incoming Chairman Whitehouse, it's encouraging and to see the relationship that he has with our elected officials, and it's one of mutual respect, and that is something that is built over time. So I think this board's choice to move forward with Ryan Whitehouse as chair is a wise choice. I would also just have a couple of words about Anya Graves and Cardinal Infrastructure, her firm, Cardinal Infrastructure. They not only help facilitate the meetings when we're in DC, they're there when we're not. And that's also very important to have that foothold in DC, that when something occurs or when we're trying to shepherd a grant through, that we have feet on the ground in DC to help us shepherd some of this through. And I don't like to think of them as lobbyists as much as I like to think of them as advocates for Connect Transit. They're really advocating on our behalf with our elected officials to try to secure some of that tax money to come back to Bloomington Normal. And with Anya, with her long history in transportation, you know, the adage is it's not what you know, it's who you know. And with Anya, you get both. We have a motion and a second, is that correct?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Any other comments and questions about this? Okay, hearing none, I would ask for a vote. All in favor of extending our contract by a year with Cardinal Infrastructure, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Brings us to our general manager's report, Isaac.
Yeah, so for the first item of the general manager's report, I want to give the board an update on the Better Bus Stops campaign. Even though we're dealing with the coronavirus, we're still making progress in the Better Bus Stops campaign, and we have several stops to still construct before the end of this fiscal year on June 30th. I want to turn it over to Martin Glaze to give the board the Better Bus Stop update. Martin?
Thank you, Isaac. So I won't go into too much detail, but I'll kind of give an overview and answer any questions the board may have. We completed 21 stops for FY19. For FY20, we started with stops in normal and completed 11 of those this fall. We are still waiting on 11 more easements out of that group. Those are properties that we need to get a agreement from the property owner to be able to build either a bump out if a sidewalk is too close to the curb and there's not enough public right of way, or a shelter or a semi-seat. We have 20 stops that are ready to go for Bloomington. So that will be this spring. We actually got those back from Bloomington. I received those today. There was 2 revisions that need to be made by our engineering firm. And once those are approved, they can go out for bid. I also got 2 additional ones in normal that were approved on Friday, and a easement agreement that was verbally approved yesterday. So we are moving forward with many of these. We have 83 stops that are ready to go for FY21. Those have already been currently in design. The Town of Normal are the first ones again. We usually find that there's less in the Town of Normal, and they're usually a little bit easier. Their sidewalks are a little bit newer, so they start with those. Then they have the entire fall and winter to work on the Bloomington ones. So that's kind of the process that we've set up with LYB. So we have 83 that are ready, won't need easement agreements or anything. We don't really see any problems with. We have an additional 7 to 10 that we're working through. Several of those are easements, and then several are just difficult locations that we're working with the city or town or IDOT in the best approach. They either don't have sidewalks or they're near an intersection that needs to be graded. And those are ones that we're working on, but we needed the fall and winter to be able to get through those. Both city and town like the stops done in a package. So, if we have 30 stops, they want all 30 all at once. And some of the more difficult ones have to be a one-off. And to do one-offs, LYB has to put together an entire, basically a legend for what everything means for that stop. Whereas a packet, she can do the legend once and it applies to all 30 stops. So the work to do one stop compared to 30 is, there's a huge gap. And it takes a lot just to do one stop, so we try not to. For the course of the 3 years, we are on track to do 156 stops. And then we've already started planning for the FY22 to do 110 stops. Starting in FY22, we will start to try and use IDOT debt services and utilize the $500,000 grant that we received from the federal government. Currently, much of this funding for stops are coming out of local, but going forward, we've already submitted the pre-approval to use IDOT debt services for the construction of FY22 and the design of construction of FY21, design of 22. And open up to any questions you may have.
Questions or comments from trustees?
This is Julie. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough for this push. And this is a great example of the ways in which we can take advantage of the COVID, what we hope is a window, to really maintain a focus on getting these bus stops online. I have a question. I've looked a couple of times, and I may just be misremembering, but I thought we were going to be posting a sort of a regular update on the Connect Transit website around the accomplishment or the which of these sites are coming online, or sort of the count of additional bus stops that are complete. And I just can't get my eyes on it if it's there.
Yeah, an interactive map, I believe.
Yes, it's under writing and then interactive or infrastructure.
Yeah, I saw it somewhere.
An interactive map allows you to actually zoom in on the individual bus stop and see its status.
Okay.
Maybe if, this is Ryan, maybe if this is something that we're really proud of and it's something that the community's asking for, maybe we make it a little bit easier to find, maybe on the homepage or something, somehow we can make it easier to find. So our elected and our public knows what we're doing to implement the plan, the Better Bus Stop campaign that we started way back in 18.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just interject. Let me just interject for a moment here too, and that is, our website was a great one 5 or 6 years ago, but it is something that Isaac and I have talked about rebuilding, revising.
Yeah.
So it would make it easier, something that's easier to navigate, something that's easier to update, all of those things. I don't know if Isaac wants to add anything to that, but that's part of this tangentially.
Yes, we are wanting to, staff, myself, we're wanting to update this website. It has caused a lot of problems for staff trying to update the website. It's out of date, and we were looking at doing that this spring, but now we're faced with this pandemic. We're pushing that off to possibly this summer, but we are looking at replacing it.
Okay, I think that's good. But in the meantime, do you think that we could move what Trustee Heil has requested? And I actually agree with that. Do you think we can move that to a more accessible spot on the website so people can see it? I mean, why don't we take pride in this? This is something that we got a lot of grief on. Let's advertise this, that we are moving forward. We heard loud and clear. And let me reiterate, we are pushing forward on something that we implemented years ago, but we're pushing as fast as we can.
What I think we can do, we can put it on as a slideshow. It's one of our stories that way people have easy access to it when they come to the first page of our website, the landing spot.
I think this is Julie. I think that's great. And honestly, this lends itself nicely to, an infographic, kind of a bar graph or a line graph that shows us constantly moving closer to the goals that we have set.
Yeah, like a campaign fund, like a thermometer looking type thing or something like that. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Any other comments or questions? I had one for Martin or for Isaac, and that is whether or not the reduced service routes have rejiggered at all the priority of the bus stops. Are you looking at bus stops, the bus stops that are going to remain if there are any sort of, well, I guess the other question is, do you anticipate any of these reduced service to be permanent at this point? But has the reduced service routes affected the priority list at all?
So we're looking at the bus stop data in 6-month increments because we're trying to get so many bus stops completed within one fiscal year. We're having to do planning already for fiscal year 2021. That's been done over the last 3 months. And so we're always looking ahead, trying to get our planning done, our site plans done now for next fiscal year. So in the next few months, we'll be looking at FY22. That may come up when we're looking at ridership from individual bus stops, where that it may change the data and what's the priority now they may be different from what it was last fiscal year or 6 months ago or 3 months ago. So, but again, because we're doing so many stops, we're having to plan six months in advance to get these stops done.
Sure, that makes sense. All right, thank you. Moving on to the coronavirus response update.
Yeah, so I just want to update the board again on what we are doing, what we have been doing over the last 6 weeks to protect employees and passengers. So we have suspended fare collection. The board voted tonight to extend that to June 7th. This prevents crowding at the front door for driver and customers. We've implemented a rear door boarding policy, which encourages customers to use the rear door to enter and exit the bus. We've also we've been cleaning both our buses and facilities on regular intervals, disinfecting buses every 4 hours, and the drivers have actually been helping for the last 6 weeks also clean buses and disinfect buses. So I want that to be known in the community that our buses are being cleaned and disinfected every 4 hours. We're sending out clean buses every shift. We've also provided every bus operator on the bus with disinfectant and paper towels in case they have to wipe down something on the bus. We're providing them with hand sanitizer dispensers, which that's all available to employees as well. We've ordered probably close to 12,000 masks, but those have not arrived. We're still having difficulty getting them. But we had a supervisor, Madeline Lehman, who made washable masks for all employees. So greatly appreciate her work and stepping up and doing that for us when the CDC issued their guidance on people wearing masks. We also limited our fixed route buses to 10 passengers. And then we already talked about this, but last Sunday, we also require all employees and passengers to wear a face mask or face covering while on the bus. So those are some of the items that we have done to or changed basically in the midst of the coronavirus. And then last item is I do want to update the board on the CARES Act funding. So Connect was very, very fortunate, like other agencies, to receive federal funding. Connect received $9.1 million to help respond and deal with the coronavirus. And that is a very large number, but like the majority of Illinois transit agencies, Connect Transit has been adversely impacted by the coronavirus. The past month and a half, we've seen a dramatic decrease in ridership and revenue. And at the same time, to provide essential service for essential workers, we've incurred extra costs, roughly $6,000 a week, to ensure our buses and facilities are cleaned, sanitized, and safe for our riders and operators. So this one-time CARES Act funding will help cover the extra costs incurred for those extra costs, but also replace lost fare revenue. Additionally, we are heavily reliant upon state sales tax revenue. It's unknown at this time the exact impact the loss of state sales tax revenue will have on the downstate transit fund, but it will have an impact, a negative impact on all of the downstate transit agencies. Our state leaders will have a difficult time, difficult decisions to make as sales tax revenue lags amidst this pandemic. And then finally, the federal funding will also offer a funding backstop as the Illinois economy comes back online. So very, very appreciative of the work of Senator Durbin, Senator Duckworth, Congressman Davis, Congressman LaHood for advocating for aid for public transportation providers. But we just don't know how the state sales tax revenue is going to affect us over the long term, because again, 65% of our funding comes from IDOT. So any questions the board
Yeah,
has?
So Isaac, I think what you're saying here in other terms is that money that we receive from the CARES Act seems pretty generous, but we don't know what the long-term effects of this is going to be 6 months down the road, a year down the road, hopefully nothing longer, but we don't know what it's going to be financially down the road, what ridership is going to go to. So I think the government was trying to be forward thinking with appropriating money to systems, correct?
That is absolutely correct. We don't know what the state funding is going to be like. Obviously, right now, we're not collecting any fare revenue whatsoever. We have extra additional costs to clean buses, clean facilities. So really, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what we don't know, is what I've been telling people in terms of what kind of revenue hit we're going to take.
This is Chairman McCurdy. It almost sounds as though, based on the uncertainty, that money is already spent or possibly spent.
That's very, very true. For next fiscal year, that's very, very true because, again, 65% of our revenue comes from the state of Illinois. Sales tax revenue obviously is down. Don't know what it's going to be over the next 12 to 18 months.
Any other questions or comments for General Manager Thorne?
This is Trustee Heil. I would just once again thank staff and Cardinal Infrastructure for jumping right on the CARES Act applications and securing these funds for us. They give us a little bit of breathing room here while COVID gets sorted out. So thank you, and thank you again.
Thank you.
This is Trustee Foster. I echo that. I know that there are citizens in our community that rely heavily on transit. And if you can help one to that person, it's worth it, you know. And for us as a community as a whole, that's what we're about. So thank you, and most definitely to the staff and the bus drivers. We want everyone to be safe, and thank you for putting the precautions in place so that they feel as though that Direct Connect is really supporting them and believe that we are a family. So thank you, and the community thanks you as well.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, that brings us to trustee comments. Any trustee comments this evening?
Yeah, can I make, oh, go on, Judy.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ryan. Just two, I wanted to second the welcome to Linda Foster as she joins our board. And it's interesting that Linda served very well as a member of our advisory board. She's coming on to our policymaking board. And in fact, this was something that the Connect to the Future work group talked about, is having a stronger relationship with our advisory board. So I think that I am grateful for not only the interest, but the experience and the knowledge Linda brings. And also to mention that Connect to the Future, it's still out there. Obviously, requests for additional dollars at this point. I don't think any of us are surprised that both our municipal governments are struggling and being challenged to do what they need to do. But just to let you know that we did well into the pandemic, continued our round of one-on-one communications so that our elected officials and city leaders were aware of what the needs are and the importance of this. While we did acknowledge to them, we recognize the extreme challenges they do have. And I think that once we are out from underneath our sheltered environment, that there probably will be an opportunity for the Connect to the Future work group members to actually present themselves and their recommendations to our city leaders. I don't know when that will be, but there is reason to believe that they really would like to hear from them. So I just wanted to update you on that. It's still out there, and it's not going to go away.
Thank you, Trustee Buchanan. Other comments, Chairman or Vice Chairman Whitehouse?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Hey, well, first, I just want to say a few things. Linda, welcome to the board. I look forward to finally one day sitting down and meeting you in person and getting to talk to you more. So welcome to the board. I also want to thank the board for electing me chairman. Thanks for the trust. Thanks for the leadership responsibilities you've given me. And thank you to everyone earlier for those kind words. I wasn't expecting that, but I appreciate it. It's nice to hear those types of things. So thanks so much. I also want to thank the staff and the board members for their service during COVID. I know the board has put out videos, but thanks to the staff that are doing everything for us. And Isaac and you know, we always say staff. Isaac, thanks for also taking leadership to make sure that people are safe there. One more thing I just wanted to bring up. I have a question, but I want to bring up, I want to make sure the board members, if they didn't get their emails, I got an email back a week ago from the county clerk's office on the economic interest form. It said that when I filled it out, there was like a glitch and it didn't report. So those are due May 1. So make sure to look through your email to see that maybe you didn't get that email back. Make sure you have your economic interest forms done by May 1 so you're not in violation. And then, am I wrong, Isaac? We talked about it earlier. Where are we at on electric buses? The delivery, I'm sure with everything going on, were you supposed to get them in spring of this year or spring of 21?
We're supposed to get them in basically the summer of 21 is when we're supposed to get those buses. We still have to have the board approve that contract. We're waiting to go to pre-production meeting. We pushed that off basically, but as far as we know, the plant is still up and operating. We have not heard of any delays as of yet, but those could be coming. But we were told summer of 2021. And I also want to follow up on your comment too about the economic interest statement forms. We did send out an email. Jill sent out an email to board members who were still had not completed that, so they have been updated.
Okay, thanks.
And Ryan, I don't think you're wrong. I think that date for electric buses has been pushed back a couple of times as well.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were. Yeah, I really want to see an electric bus on our property.
I think we all do.
Yeah, I don't think it was. We didn't have a locked in date until we got the contract. We were told certain things, but when we got the contract, the board voted for that. I do believe in November. My memory serves me. We were basically told at that point it would be the summer of 2021. So that was the date we were given that at that time.
Other trustee comments this evening?
Yes, Julie Heil. I too want to welcome you to the board, Linda. It was really a pleasure to work with you on Connect to the Future. I'm excited about your bringing the connection to the Citizens Advisory Committee and your experience with the people there to our group. And from the comments you've already made this evening, I just think you're a great fit and a great addition to the team. I want to also, Mike McCurdy, thank you for your service as board chair these years. I've known no other chair since I came on the board, and I have greatly appreciated your hard work, your devotion, your openness to feedback, dialogue. It's been a pleasure to work with you in that role, and I thank you for that service. And then finally, I wanted to come back to the operator's question. So actually, I've got the operator's question, and Isaac, I'd love for you to talk with us a bit about just how is operator morale? Are they feeling that we are appreciating them? I know the videos were a step in that direction, but I hear about face masks, and I know that there have been some lunches provided and so on. So just wanted to hear a little bit more about that. And then the other thing is to just say, I wanted to acknowledge as a follow-on to Trustee Buchanan's comments about the Connect to the Future work, that to my understanding, I know less about council members in the city of Bloomington, but town of Normal, mayor, city manager Reese, and all council members have been gracious in taking calls with me and with Isaac, and to make sure that we have had the opportunity to answer any questions they might have about the Connect to the Future recommendations, and really allowed us to help them keep that project and the support for Connect Transit on the radar, even as they have been factoring COVID into budgeting and forward-thinking strategy. So thanks to our electeds for their interest and their willingness to meet with us. And then if we could just turn Isaac back to this question of operators and staff, your team.
Yeah, I believe morale is pretty good. At the very beginning of this, and we still are encouraging employees, if you're sick, please stay home. We've given employees additional time to be able to take care of themselves and their families if they are sick or they have underlying conditions that make them susceptible to COVID-19. So we know our employees are our greatest asset. We want to make sure they're taken care of. We want to make sure they feel like they're being appreciated and cared for during this time. They are at the lines of this and helping move our community. So we want to make sure they feel appreciated. And like I said, we've tried in every way we can to take care of them. And one thing I feel like in our conversation, Julie, we talked about is just getting the materials such as masks and whatnot. That has been our biggest hurdle in all this because everybody's looking for the PPE, the masks, the gloves, the whatnot. So we're working as hard as we can, and we've had employees step up and make masks for employees, but we're also having meetings with the ATU leadership on a weekly, daily basis to have conversations with them, what needs to change, what policies we need to institute. So I think it's gone pretty well. I think morale is pretty good. So
I so appreciate that. Thank you for all you have done to make that happen. What is your level of confidence that staff and operators know the board appreciates them?
Well, I think those videos have really helped. I think putting those out there has been tremendous. I know we've talked to individual board members about, can we do a lunch for employees? Can we do, some kind of meal basically we can bring it in and cater it? I don't know in the midst of what's going on currently if it's probably time for that. Maybe after the shelter-in-place order has been lifted, we can look at doing something like that. But I think that's probably our next step. And showing the board, showing the employees the board's appreciation for all the work they've done. Or maybe other ideas as well.
Yeah, there are some agencies and organizations giving out the gift cards from different restaurants. Just something to think about, and maybe the board can probably say some thank yous on the card that we give out, if that's one of the areas that we want to consider.
Thank you, Linda. Any other comments? Well, first of all, I would say thanks, Julie, for your kind words about me serving as chair. You're not quite done with me yet. My term doesn't end until the 30th, so you got to put up with me until then. But I will say that this last year has been a learning experience for me professionally and as a public servant. It has been an interesting year moving through some of the controversy Connect Transit has faced, and then the Connect to the Future working group, which I think went exceedingly well. And I'm looking forward to seeing Chairman Whitehouse move ahead with some of those recommendations and serving as a board member to see them complete. But thank you for your words. I appreciate it very much. The other thing I would say is that I have been nothing short of impressed by Isaac's and staff's work responding to the coronavirus. He seems to have been at least one step ahead of me as I'm thinking about some of this stuff. I would be getting ready to call him or ask him about something, and I get an email that day or the day before I was thinking about calling him, and it was already done. And I think Julie has expressed this to me in terms of some of the information from APTA in responding to coronavirus, that Connect Transit has been just ahead of the curve. And I can't thank Isaac enough for that. Other comments and questions?
I just want to add something really quick. This is Isaac. I just want to thank our employees and staff for all the hard work they've done. They've done extraordinary work during this pandemic. So a lot of the credit goes to them. So thank you.
It's a testament to the system that we have. Some systems, the buses did not roll out, and Connect Transit has, I think, sort of bobbed and weaved in a way that allowed us to continue to provide service. And I can't express how happy I am that we were able to do that. Other comments or questions for Isaac?
Last comment from me. This is Julie. I think that, I absolutely appreciate that our buses have continued rolling, and I also acknowledge that that has kept our operators, receiving paychecks, and not all systems have been able to do that. So thank you for taking care of our team in that way. Last thing would be that as we begin to turn to the state reopening and more riders on our buses, I would encourage the conversation to include not only sort of what you might call a reintegration plan, but also to take some time to collect best practices and lessons that we have learned about our system while we have been engaging with this pandemic, and to capitalize on them as best we can in all the right ways. You know, what I keep saying to people is if we have to go through this darn thing, then let's be better for it. And I look forward to participating in those conversations with you all, however I can.
Thank you. Hearing no other comments, we have no executive session this evening. I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is Jill. Before adjournment, can we discuss next month's meeting?
We may.
Yes, May 26th. It falls on the day after Memorial Day. Does the board want to modify that date?
But no one's going anywhere.
Okay, so we're going to leave it at May 26th. Is that correct?
I'm fine with that. I hear no objections from other trustees.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jill. I think I was supposed to bring that up. Any other comments, questions before we have a motion to adjourn?
Just thank you for your service, and I'm looking forward to working with the team and Chair Whitehouse. I'm excited, and that whatever I can do, anything I can assist, any questions. Yes, I've had some experience with CTAC and CTTF. All of that helps me to understand what we're trying to do. It also encourages me. So thank you to Isaac and his team for being there and answer the questions and being willing to just stand in the midst of even though there was controversy, that they stood there and they answered questions and they were genuine with their responses. So I'm looking forward to working with this board and continue relationship with our community.
Linda, you don't know what you just offered to me. Thank you.
All right. I think we had a motion from Trustee Whitehouse to adjourn. I did not hear the second. There was some crosstalk.
Second, Linda.
So second by Linda Foster. All in favor of adjournment? Aye.
Aye.
I came
And
late,
adjourn.
but I'm
Thank
holding it to leave early. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye.
Be well, everybody.